Hi, and welcome to the flip card video. This video will only contain the construction instruction, what's your function? If you need to access the techniques for how to get the proper measurements for all of your cuts in your score lines, if you don't want to use the accompanying SCAL file, then you need to refer to the flip card vidette located in this same blog post. I have my card here. This is my card stock that I'm going to use to make my card, and my large rectangle. And I've just applied adhesive to the back, and it's really important that you go around the edge of that circle cutout and really get some really strong adhesive there, just to be sure. And I'm just going to first of all stand up and eyeball this. So I've gone ahead and glued this down, and I've cut out my circle, obviously, and now I need to move on to my smaller rectangle, and this one is going to go right over the top, turn it around, of the larger one, and you're just going to line that up so that you don't see any edges. That looks pretty good to me, so I will go ahead and glue that down, and then I'll flip it over, and I'll take my smallest rectangle and glue that on the inside of the card. And that is really going to cover up all of my raw edges and make sure that everything looks presentable. So I will go ahead and do that and come right back to you. I have glued my top rectangle on, and I've also glued the inside rectangle to cover up my raw edges, like that. And I'm just going to sit this aside for now while I move on to form the box, or the real mechanics of this flip card. So here are my two strips. They're exactly the same size. And I cut two just because you will see the inside of the box when you open the card, and I just don't really like seeing the white. I prefer to make the paper two-sided paper. If you have two-sided paper that you want to use, that is absolutely perfect. It'll save you this step. I'm just going to glue these together, and you want to use a really nice glue. My glue to use is Yes Paste. So I've allowed my Yes Paste to dry somewhat, and now I'm ready to move on to scoring. Ew, dusty. Now, for scoring, I'm just going to score this every 2 5/8 inches. That is what works for this particular size card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 2 5/8, 2 5/8. 2 5/8, and 2 5/8. Now it's going to leave you with a little bit left over, but you want that. Alright? So now going through on each fold, I'm just going to use my bone folder and crease it really nicely. So I've already scored my box and done all of my folding, and glued it together and took it apart again, just so I was sure I was going to be telling you the proper instructions. So now that it's here, I have my tab to my right, and I just clip the edges with a pair of scissors just to give it a little bit of a cleaner look once it's done. And my square closest to my tab, I put a big X in. And then I moved over 2 tabs to the left, and I just took one of my extra circles, that's why I cut more than I need, and I just folded it in half and placed the flat edge against the fold of my third square from the right, and just traced with a pencil that semicircle all the way around there. Now you can go ahead and glue your box together. So there you have your box, and you want to go ahead now while the glue is drying and place the X down on the inside of your card so that it is like so, right up against that fold line on your card. And from there you just want to flatten it out. And now when you close it, you should be able to line up that pencil mark that you made with your opening. Now from there, you're going to trace the other half of the circle with the card closed. And really, you could just trace the circle all at once, but, you know, I just don't like to confuse myself. And that's going to give you your lineup points for when you start constructing the card. Now I've moved on to my other circles, and I have them here. And what I've done is I've just glued them together, 3 of them, in no particular fashion. And if you have to do a little trimming around the edges, that's completely fine. You know, do whatever you need to do. For these purposes, I won't. So, decide which circle you want to be your top circle. And I'm going to decide on this one. Alright, we are on the last leg of constructing this gray card. So I have all my pieces here, and that little half circle that I've been using, I just cut it in half, and now I'm really going to use it as part of the project. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take my box, and if you can see, I have the circle here that I marked on the card, and to my right side of the circle I put X's in that half of the circle, and on the left outside of the circle I put X's, and that's going to tell me where I need to glue. And I'm putting glue on the back of the half circle, and this actually goes where there are no X's. Okay, so you want to cover up that half of your circle like so. So now you're just left with 2 places to glue. So first thing I want to do is I want to flip it around to my big X and put glue on that entire area, because that entire area is going to be glued to the inside of the card. Be generous. So you want to open your card, and you want to line this up as best as possible, snuggle it right up to that fold, and press it down. So my next step is to glue on the outside of my half circle that I just glued down. All around that I'm going to place glue. And once again I'm going to fold my card and press that down so that it's glued in place. So now I finished all of my little tweaking, and as you can see, the card works. This is the point where you can move on and get rolling and rolling and rolling on all of those embellishments. My only word of advice is if you want something that to be on the front of the card that sort of goes into the circle, for instance, if I wanted to put a half circle there, which I never would, but let's just say I do, I would only attach it to the circle and not to the front of the card itself so that my action isn't hindered. But that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of the flip card, and you get rolling on making one of your own. Rolling.